He will be giving you guys an update on the collision that occurred this morning. This will be our final update. If you guys have any further questions, please wait until he's done. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and give the same briefing I gave before. I know there's some new media outlets out here, and then we can answer questions about anything else that is of importance. So on March 2nd at approximately 06:15 hours, El Centro Dispatch received a call of a traffic collision involving two vehicles, which occurred on SR 115 at Norris Road. The vehicles involved were a big rig hauling two trailers and a maroon Ford Expedition. The big rig was traveling northbound on SR 15 north of Norris Road at an unknown speed. The Ford Expedition was westbound on Norris Road at SR 15 at the intersection. At this point, it's unknown whether or not the SUV stopped at the stop sign. For reasons still under investigation, the Ford Expedition entered the intersection in front of the big rig. The big rig collided with the left side of the Ford Expedition and pushed it to the shoulder. As a result of this collision, the driver of the big rig, who's 69 years old, sustained moderate injuries and was transported to Desert Regional Medical Center, where he's being treated for his injuries. There were 25 occupants in the Ford Expedition, including the driver, who's 22 years old. 12 of the occupants, including the driver, succumbed to their injuries, 12 on scene and 1 at the hospital. The other occupants were transported to El Centro Regional Medical Center, Pioneers Memorial Hospital, and Desert Regional Medical Center, where they're being treated. A few of the patients were transported to Scripps and UCSD Medical Center because those are trauma hospitals and they needed more attention. Our multidisciplinary accident investigation team is on scene. There's a specialized team that's going to be investigating this incident to its conclusion. They're specially trained to look at all the physical evidence involved in this collision to determine exactly what happened. It would be premature of me to speculate on what happened at this collision. The important thing is that 13 people died in this crash. We owe it to the families of those that were killed and injured, as well as the public, to conduct a complete and thorough investigation to determine exactly what happened. I'd like to again thank our allied agencies that are involved today: Holtville Fire Department, Imperial County Sheriff's Corner and Fire Department, U.S. Border Patrol, Caltrans, and we have the CEO of El Centro Regional Medical Center, as well as the Mexican Consulate. Thank you.
Do you know about where those people in the expedition were coming from and where they were going?
Right now, it's premature to know that information. We're really focusing on notifying the next of kin and finding out exactly what caused the collision.
Are they U.S. citizens?
At this point, we don't know where they're all from. It's still under investigation. That's not what we're sitting. We're saying that we want to make sure of all the resources necessary to really ascertain where they're from, if they're from here or from Mexico, to make sure we have all the resources necessary to figure that out. We'd rather do that now than later on and be slow in making notifications if necessary. So we brought all of our counterparts on board to start in the beginning of the investigation. Thus far, they have talked with them, but they haven't provided any information to help us understand why this collision happened. The driver of the SUV was, I believe, 20. The driver of the SUV was 22. Yeah, right now the number we have is 22. As far as the ages of the people in the SUV, ranged in their early 20s up into their 50s. Not pardon me? 16? No, not to my knowledge. As far as the driver?
Or the youngest?
Okay, the youngest in the vehicle was 16, but we're talking about the ones that were critically injured or killed. So I think that's where the numbers are getting mixed up. So anywhere from 16 into the 50s in the vehicle, and there's a range of ages as far as those that were killed in the collision.
Any children or women?
Pardon me?
Any children or women?
At this point, I don't know that.
Children or women?
Yes, there were women and men in the vehicle, no young children.
How do you fit 25 people in a vehicle like
Right now it's too early to speculate something like that. All we can say is that they were in the vehicle. Our message to the public is to make sure that everyone wears their safety belts to prevent injuries or fatalities when involved in collisions.
Regular seats inside the vehicle, was it set up at all?
At this point, we're still inspecting the vehicle, so we don't have that information.
But do they know? I mean, are the seats in there?
Well, right now we're still investigating, so we don't have that answer quite yet.
When you look at the car right now, though, are there seats in the car?
There's seats in the car, but we don't know how many seats there are. Okay?
Are any people from that any are missing?
Pardon me?
Can you confirm if any are missing? Maybe
No,
they're
no, we can't. Some of the victims were ejected from the vehicle. There's some walking wounded that pulled themselves out of the vehicles. And then once the allied agencies and our CHP personnel arrived on scene, they were also pulling people from the vehicle as well. So it was a pretty chaotic scene. There's quite a few through traffic on this roadway, but we don't know where the vehicle was coming from at this point. That's still under investigation.
Are you looking into the possibility, or were these farm workers? Were these immigrants? What do you know? What are you looking into?
So the question is, are they farm workers or immigrants? We don't know that. It's too early in the investigation to say what they were doing and where they're coming from. That's why we've assembled this team of personnel from all the agencies to ascertain exactly where they're coming from and exactly what happened. It really depends on the circumstances of the collision. In this case, a lot of the people in the vehicle didn't speak English, so we wanted to make sure that we had all the resources available in order to start expediting exactly where the folks may be from and being able to reach out to their families. We are close to the border, so we have people that come back and forth on a daily basis for work, so that's something that we couldn't necessarily rule out. Potentially, but we don't know at this point. Correct. That would be hard for me to say. I think that a vehicle like that can tow a boat or a trailer, so we don't know at this point whether or not that had anything to do with the collision.
Was the vehicle registered to the driver?
That I don't know at this point. Correct. He's asking if whether or not this vehicle is being chased. There are no other agencies or no law enforcement personnel behind the vehicle, so we don't really know where they're coming from or why they went through the intersection from the big rig. The first unit was here within probably 10 minutes of the call. Now our mate team had to travel from long distances, so it took them quite a bit of time to get out here. Injuries range from minor to very severe injuries, a whole range of injuries. It would be too many to discuss. They were able to, the question is, did they find any identification? And the answer is yes. Not for everyone, but we have found identification for some of the folks in the vehicle.
Was it U.S. or was it from another country, the identification?
Pardon me?
Was the ID from another country or was it from the U.S.?
I don't know exactly whether the identification was from at this point.
Did the identifications suggest that they're family members or that they knew each other in any way?
That I couldn't say. That's a little too early to speculate. Remember, our focus right now is on the collision itself and why it happened and making sure that we get in contact with the family members. That's really what our focus is. He's asking if the skid marks are indication of basically what happened with the collision. And right now it's too early to tell. That's why the mate team is out here. It's in the preliminary stages, so all we can do is gather the evidence and look at all the factors before we render a decision. All of that's being coordinated through the coroner's office, so that I wouldn't be able to say. That I don't know. I believe the driver is from Mexicali. Pardon me? That I don't know. The trailer was not loaded. Of the SUV, correct. All right, thank you very much.